E.Craven joins us with more. Erika?
As predators lurk in the darkest internet corners, state task force agents bring the abuse to light. He took cover behind a car. Yori took cover behind a telephone pole. Hours later, the wreckage is still smoking. Nestled in the heart of Minot, gives residents and visitors the chance to practice new skills or plow piles, just like that, as they finally were able to put the tragedy that began on the last day of 2019 to bed. For aerial photography, it's given Mandan police an extra eye in the sky. A cell phone left at the scene. Some in Bismarck are taking action. They found a second shooting victim. There are 27 missing Indigenous people in our state. Many people enjoy watching athletes perform these elements in the Olympics. The games might encourage you to do a little research on the sport or step on the ice yourself. I used to skate for Disney on Ice, so
that is so cool.
They keep roping me into skating for news segments, which is a lot of fun, but you know. As predators prowl behind the screen, they often attempt to contact unsuspecting kids. Many parents are wary.
The main fear that I have right now is that she'll give out information that someone might come on that's a male and not a female and tell her that he's younger, that he's her age.
As kids now grow up using the internet,
we're usually on it every time we get back home.
They get a lesson in staying safe too.
Yeah, my mom's talked about it. I'm kind of afraid of people kind of asking me questions like how old I am, where do I live and all that.
Parents aren't the only ones protecting kids. Others are hard at work, chasing shadows.
This is a tip that was received.
Every day, Bureau of Criminal Investigation agents get cyber tips from internet service providers.
This one is from Google as the service provider, and again, child exploitation material.
Tips have gone up more than 500% in the past 6 years.
Over the course of time, younger and younger children are being given devices, and they're being given the access to the internet, things like that. So that, I think, increases the number of possible targets also. And I do think that people are doing a better job of reporting it. These service providers are doing a better job of reporting it.
Chief Agent Stephen Harstad tells me the task force has had good success tracking down these criminals in North Dakota. Every 1,000 tips, some of which are multiple tips for the same person, results in 200 arrests for people trying to meet up with or defraud children or get and trade explicit and abusive materials of children. The stakes are high, but agents say the work is meaningful.
So you get to the end of these cases and you have truly saved a child.
He says although there are real dangers with serious consequences, the internet can remain a useful tool and entertainment source. He says education and open communication is key to keeping your kids safe. Since Wednesday night, Sarah Huff's given up the comforts of home as the storm swirled outside.
I stayed here the last 2 nights. I brought my camping cot. I have it upstairs, and luckily we always have donations of blankets and stuff, so I have some comforters up there. I'm sleeping on some dog toys that I have as pillows.
But she's had plenty of companionship. 8 dogs and 22 cats at the Furry Friends Rock and Rescue in Bismarck kept her company. She says a sleepover with dozens of pets isn't the usual. But when care isn't easily accessible due to road conditions, it's necessary for someone to stay with the animals.
That still means all of the dogs need to go out to go potty, all of the cats' litter boxes need to get cleaned, everyone needs their food and meds. When it comes to the roads being shut down completely, then we do try to have somebody around, or even better, we will reach out to the public and say, hey, can you house this animal for at least through the storms?
There's 2 schools of thought for how to handle a storm. Some like to cuddle up with loved ones.
A lot of the cats are probably completely clueless that we're under 2 feet of snow right now.
Others head outside for some winter fun.
All of our dogs right now like this weather a lot more than I do.
Although the time outside is in shorter bursts, the dogs enjoy a few more walks. Thanks to Sarah, these animals had the best of both worlds. In Bismarck, ERIKAcraven reporting for your news leader. As I gear up for my first test, I feel the pressure. Mistakes in this line of work can be deadly for an officer or for someone else.
They will hurt and they will leave marks.
Okay. When you guys train with scenarios like this, how realistic would you say it is?
We try to make it as realistic as possible. That's why we use simulations, we use actors, we even use blood, fake blood. So because the realer you train, the more it helps in real life when that happens, so you don't panic.
To handle these situations, police are required to do at least 60 hours of training every 3 years.
Okay, your first scenario.
I was, quote, dispatched to a domestic abuse call. My goal, de-escalation. Please? Miss, I will help you. Let's just get to the bottom of this here. I tried to quickly figure out what was going on with minimal information.
You have no authority here.
Oh my God. All right, I'm dead. I never drew my gun. I wanted to go in planning to separate the two people. But when you went out of my line of vision, it made me nervous. The next call, a burglar alarm was triggered at the gym. Anybody here? I tried to talk to someone who wouldn't answer any of my questions. Right there, let me know who you are and what you're doing here.
Yeah, well, I got something for you.
Oh no! I shot an innocent person. After scenario 1, I'd been too ready to shoot.
But you can see how things happen so quickly, and you have to make those split-second decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got nervous when you reached.
Yes, as most cops would.
The first 2 scenarios had shown me that my poor reactions had already cost 2 lives. Hello? Will I learn from my mistakes in the next scenarios? In Bismarck, ERIKAcraven reporting for your news leader. Jerry Bernal and his wife have been staying at hotels so Jerry can get medical care after he learned he had stage 5 kidney failure.
The first thing that came into my mind was my kids and my wife.
After the news, he began dialysis and the wait to get a transplant.
Studies have shown that having a transplant is much better than being on dialysis, but unfortunately, we have more patients needing transplant than we have kidneys available.
Waiting, it was hard, because I experienced a dark place that I'd never been in.
The wait was over on December 22nd, when Jerry got the news there was a match.
Dropped the phone and I was very emotional.
The race for Jerry and the kidney to get to Sanford and Bismarck for surgery was on. On ice, the kidney would last just 24 hours. Jerry drove from Williston to Bismarck, but a blizzard was brewing.
Like 50 miles per hour wind, blowing snow, and so we just said a prayer, and there was just this big light. The sun was so bright, like it was just shining, like it was making me a path where I could see to get here.
The kidney, coming from a deceased donor in Rapid City, was flown to Minneapolis, but the storm was getting worse.
The flights were canceled, and so our only option to get this kidney that matched that recipient was to have it driven, and that's when we reached out to Lucas and his team.
Obviously, we have a choice to not drive in those conditions, but in these circumstances, I'm kind of the end of the road as far as a chance of someone receiving that organ. So there's really no question. I jumped out of bed and drove.
LifeSource driver Lucas made it to Jamestown before getting stuck.
And then the call came out for Lucas and the kidney, and so that's when I knew, the time constraints and that we needed to start getting our local wrecker service notified to start heading up there, and our DOT plows to get going, because I didn't know if I was going to make it.
2 snowplows, Holsworth, another deputy, and a tow truck quickly showed up. They plowed out and reopened the road.
I didn't know. I didn't know what happened after he left, if he made it.
They made it and went into surgery. Didn't get out till 11. I woke up with everybody in my face clapping and excited, and I was just overwhelmed.
The drive took 13 hours total.
This is all altruistic, and that's what makes it important and very touching, because it's not easy to risk your life to save another one.
It was a Christmas miracle for everyone involved. By Christmas Day, Jerry was up and walking, a few steps made possible by a relay across the region and a race against the clock.